live. I'm going to do a question and answer video today for you guys about traveling. I posted on my Instagram story if anybody had any questions about traveling, and I'm going to read those off my computer and give you guys some answers. But before we get started, a few little reminders. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button down below and the little bell so you get notifications when I post new videos. Also, like this video, please, and thank you. Share with your friends and family. And if you guys have any questions or comments afterwards, just make sure you leave them in the comments section below, and I will get back to you guys. Okay, so let's get started. First question is, do you get a car, or how do you find your way around? So when I travel, I usually do not get a car. I rented a car one time when I went to Colorado with my sister, and that's just because we were actually doing a road trip around a part of Colorado, so we needed a car to road trip. But when I was backpacking Australia, I did not get a car, definitely not. I did not have money for that, and I took the Greyhound bus up the East Coast. So the thing with Australia is it has a really big backpacking culture, so it's pretty easy for backpackers to get around. They have the Greyhound, which is just like a coach bus. Transportation is key for me, and it's the cheapest way to travel to. I mean, I've taken Ubers places sometimes, but that always adds up. So yeah, most public transportation is really simple once you get the hang of it. So if you're traveling and on a budget, or just traveling in general, because renting a car can be really expensive, I highly suggest getting on all the public transportation, figuring that out. If you are going further places, like I said, I took the coach bus up the East Coast in Australia. I'm actually in Germany right now, and on Sunday I'm taking a coach bus from where I am right now, which is Ries. Well, I'll be in Cologne. From Cologne to Berlin, I'm taking a coach bus too. So getting further distances, coaches are good, planes obviously, trains are good too. Now for question number 2. How do you decide where to go? I don't know, honestly. I follow a lot of travel accounts and stuff on on Instagram, and I just kind of see a place that I like, and I'm like, oh, where is that? That looks interesting, maybe I'll go there. And I have a notebook that I have listed different places that I want to go, so I can check those off as I'm traveling. It's awesome. Deciding on Australia, I don't really know why I decided on Australia, to be honest. I was going through a lot of stuff at the time, and it was kind of I just wanted to get as far away as I could. And a big part that played a role in it was that they spoke English in Australia, and it was my first time really traveling alone for a length of time too, so that was important to me, that I would know what was going on everywhere I went. When I went to Jamaica, that was for a yoga retreat, so I just chose that yoga retreat. It was from my yoga studio at home. That's where they were going, so that's how Jamaica was chosen. For my Europe trip, I kind of just picked places where I knew some people, so I could visit some people that I met in Australia. And then my friend from Canada wanted to meet up in Barcelona, so I added that to my list. And yeah, it was pretty much just where I had some people that I could hang out with and see. And I would like to do more through Europe, but right now I'm going to be heading home shortly. And I want to go to Asia next. That's just because I want to see Asia. I don't know, it's I want to see all different places in the world, so I kind of just pick out of a hat, I guess, what do I want to see next, and that's how I choose where to go. As for picking where to go when I am in a different country, Instagram helps a lot. I'll kind of do just a hashtag wherever I am and see what pops up, the most popular things. I'm not that big of go to the touristy places. When I was in London, I did not go see Big Ben or Buckingham Palace or anything like that. One thing that I really do like to do in new cities especially is check out their vegan vibes. So I go to all different plant-based restaurants and things like that. I did an Animals Rights March in London. So yeah, and yoga events and things like that. So I really take what I'm interested in, and I look for things that revolve around that, rather than what everybody else is doing, I guess. So yeah, search on Instagram, Google, ask people around. Next question number 3. What is your favorite country in the EU? So I have not visited every country in the EU, and I just got to Germany a week ago, and I still have a few places I'm visiting here. But so far, my favorite has been the Netherlands, and I can't really tell you why. I just kind of got like this really like good feeling when I was there. Like as soon as I got off the plane and into Amsterdam, I was like, I like this place. I like everybody riding their bikes. I think that's so cool. I was at the beach, and I do not know how to pronounce anything, so excuse my pronunciation, but De Haag. It's like on the coast of the Netherlands, and they have a nice beach there and this pier, and it was so nice walking on the beach. So yeah, so far I've liked the Netherlands the best. Question number 4. How do you afford to travel? So when I started in Australia, I had been working a full-time job for almost 2 years and just had some savings, and that's kind of what I went with, was what I had from there. Before that, when I did Guatemala and Costa Rica, Guatemala was a volunteer trip that I did, so I fundraised some money for that. I did like a bake sale, a tag sale, and I did like one of those GoFundMe pages. Costa Rica was another volunteer trip, but that one I paid for by myself because, again, I was working full-time at the time and I had some money. And for this Europe trip, I just worked my little butt off all summer long, waitressing, and saved money, and that's how I got to Europe. When I get home, I'm going to be working again and saving to do my next trip. I also budget travel, so I don't stay in hotels, I don't rent cars, I don't eat at fancy restaurants, I don't eat out all the time. I stay in hostels or with friends, family. Like I said, I use public transportation to save money. I cook a lot of my food. I do spend a decent amount of money though on trying vegan restaurants, but I do cook food. I make sure that I'm at a hostel where they have a good kitchen and I can cook. And I try to save as much money as I can on like not buying souvenirs or things like that. Budget travel, that's how I'm able to see as much of the world as I've seen so far. Not glamour travel, I guess. So yeah, budget travel and just save, and that's just what I choose to spend my money on, is traveling. So I also don't have like rent to pay at home. When I'm home, I live with my parents. I'm very lucky to be able to go back to their house when I get home. I don't have like any crazy bills or anything like that. So it's kind of like, if you do want to travel, you need to kind of like cut off, like really travel, like make your life traveling, you need to kind of like cut off all your responsibilities like that at home. Like, don't have a place that you're going home to, just be a traveler. I don't know, because then you have to pay rent and you have to worry about that, and like water and electricity and that. I do have a phone bill right now. I'm looking into getting off my phone bill and just doing a prepaid phone, but I need to unlock my phone first. But yeah, just kind of like cutting off all those bills. Next question. Why do you travel by yourself? So I wasn't just like, hey, I want to like go travel the world by myself. It wasn't just like that. I tried to get friends to travel with me, my siblings to travel with me. I did the volunteer programs because I didn't really want to travel by myself at first. But after a while I realized that everybody's life is on like a different timer, and I didn't really have anybody, like friends or family, that were able to travel with me whenever I could, or didn't have the money or things like that. So I decided that I was going to do this on my own. And after I got to Australia and I was on my own and I met all these different people, I realized that this is what I really enjoyed doing. Like, I was able to be myself. I didn't have any expectations. I have a whole blog post on this, why solo travel is amazing and everybody should try it, so I'm going to link that below. Next question. What is your favorite place you have visited so far? Australia. I don't even have to think about that one. I miss Australia literally every day of my life. It's amazing. Like, the country is amazing. There's so many different things to do there, and I only did the East Coast. I want to go back and do the West Coast, which is a totally different world. But like, you have the beaches and you have the city and you have mountains and you have I didn't get to the desert, but you have the desert. And just the backpacking culture, like I mentioned before, is amazing there. Like, there's so many backpackers, and you meet so many different people from around the world, and everybody's like on the same vibe as you, and yeah, it's really great. I think everybody should check out Australia, even if you're not backpacking. It's just a beautiful country, and I can't even put it into words. Just check it out for yourself, guys. Do it. Australia is great. Question number 8, I think. I don't know. Next question. What is your favorite part of traveling? I love meeting new people, which is actually crazy because when I started traveling, that was not the case. I was very shy. I was very to myself. I did not even like going to parties with like my friends where I didn't know people. Kind of had like a social anxiety when it came to like meeting new people. But as I started traveling and meeting new people, that became my favorite part of traveling. People have so many crazy stories to share, and you meet so many people that are like you in so many ways, and different than you in so many ways, and it's just great to see, like, I don't know, all these different people. I also like the freedom of traveling. I feel so free, like I can do anything I want. The world is mine. Yeah, traveling gives you like this freedom. You can do whatever you want. I wake up in the morning and I'm like, what am I going to do today? Like, I don't know, but I can literally do anything. I don't have to get out of bed and go to work and figure this out, figure that out. What do I want to do today? So that's great. When I'm not traveling, I get this really restlessness, and it's hard to get rid of. Like, even at home, I'll try to do little trips when I'm home to get rid of that feeling and get back that feeling of freedom. But yeah, traveling makes you feel free. So my 2 favorite things about traveling: meeting new people and the feeling of freedom. Next question is, where do you stay when you travel? And I kind of answered this one already. Throughout Europe, I've mainly stayed with friends that I met in Australia. I also did couch surfing in Barcelona, and I'm doing couch surfing tomorrow night. And then I have stayed in a few hostels. But when I was in Australia, I only stayed in hostels. When I was volunteering in Costa Rica and Guatemala, there was homestays. So through the program I volunteered with, I stayed with like a family. And then Jamaica was a retreat, so we were at a resort, but it wasn't really a resort. Great Hut Resorts in Jamaica. Look it up. It's a cool place. I'll actually put a link for their Instagram below so you guys can check it out. If you ever go to Jamaica and want a place to stay there. It's awesome. It's really cool. It's like a little rustic, like these, they're not huts. They're like, I don't know, they're really cool. You guys will see when I put the link. Okay, next question. This is going to be a little shout out question. Who is better, Ben or Toby? So Ben is my friend from Australia. We met, he stalked me from from Spot X to Rainbow Beach, where we officially met. I'm just kidding, he didn't stalk me, but we were both at Spot X, but I did not know him at Spot X. And then we met at Rainbow Beach. And Toby is his brother, and I stayed with them in London a couple weeks ago. And I'm sorry, Toby, but I have to say that Dexter wins. So, Dexter's their dog. Please tell me your secret. How do you take time for work and to travel so much, and it's expensive? Teach me. LOL. Okay, so I kind of answered all of these questions, I think, in the past questions, but like I said, I don't have a job. I get whatever work I can get now, and waitressing is usually the easiest option, I would say. And when I'm home babysitting, it's really easy too. So that's what I do for work. I am starting a culinary nutrition program next week. And I'm hoping it's a plant-based program, so I'm hoping to be able to use that to find some restaurants that I can work in, and some plant-based restaurants, and learn a little bit more about owning and running a restaurant, because one day I hope to own my own plant-based place. So after I do that program, I will be looking specifically for work in restaurants like that. And the other part of this question is, it's expensive. Like I said, I budget travel, so hostels, I don't stay in hotels. I buy the cheapest flights I can find. SKYSCANNER is good for cheap flights. Student Universe, For Europe, I use Ryanair, EasyJet. I'll link all these websites down below. But yeah, I literally go for my cheapest option. I save money on accommodation because most of the time I'm not even going to be where I'm staying. I'm out exploring or something and literally just need a bed at the end of the night. So when I look for hostels, I don't look for much. I just make sure that they are decently cleaned, and that they have a nice kitchen for me to cook in. Not even a nice kitchen, just a kitchen for me to cook in. So budget traveling is key. Couch surfing, free places to stay. Knowing how much money you have and knowing where you're going to spend the most money and not spending money other places, I guess. So obviously flights are expensive. Find your cheapest flight, like I said, with those websites. Save on accommodation because that could be the next most expensive. Like I said, I don't rent cars. Again, expensive. So think of the things that are expensive and figure out how you can make them not as expensive. I have how to get free accommodation blog post. I will link that down below. And I guess I'll do one on finding cheap flights and things like that. I'll do a blog post about that. So stay tuned for that one. Who is the coolest person you've met along your recent travels? So I don't know about the coolest person I met because I met so many cool people. Like I said, everybody's different in so many ways, and even if they're alike, they're still so different from each other. But one of the most inspirational people I have met in my life was this guy from Sydney. He had been through like a lot of stuff in his travels, and he had been traveling a lot, and he told me a lot of his different stories, and they really actually inspired me to continue traveling. It was then that I decided that after I got back from Jamaica, I wanted to keep traveling. So not the coolest, well, I mean, he was pretty cool, but definitely one of the most inspirational people I've met. The last question is, I want to travel, but I'm like scared and don't know where to start. Any advice? This is actually a question that I get from people a lot. Guys, I was terrified when I left for Australia. I was in the airport texting my friend saying, I cannot do this, why did I think I could do this? I cannot do this for 3 months. Like, I already had a ticket booked home too, so I couldn't even like decide when I wanted to come home. I was terrified. I got there and I was still terrified. And 2 days later, I started making friends, and it was amazing. I'm not scared at all anymore. So my biggest tip of advice is just do it. Get out there and do it. Like, you gotta jump, take the leap, like get out of your comfort zone and just do it. It's gonna be the best thing you ever do, I promise. You just have to take that leap. It's gonna be scary, just like with anything else in life that you try for the first time. It's not easy, but once you take that leap, you won't regret it. And if you do, if you get there and you're like, oh, I can't do this, worst case scenario, you buy a ticket home. I did have a friend that I met in Sydney, and he just was really homesick and he couldn't stay, and he went home, and he did have a good time, I think, while he was there with the friends that he made, but it was not for him. But if you really want to do it, just do it. Like, just do it. Buy a plane ticket and go. That's my best advice. Sorry if that's not really good advice, but honestly, it's just a matter of getting out there and doing it. And that's what I tell people all the time when they ask me, like, how to get started, is just do it. Yeah, so that's all the questions for today. Make sure you guys subscribe, hit the little bell button for notifications, and tell all your friends and family about this video, please. Give it a thumbs up if you like it, and any more questions, comments, or any of that, you guys can leave down below in the comments section, and I will get back to you guys, maybe with another Q&A video if there's lots of questions, or I'll just respond right in the comments. I'm going to do some more Q&A videos about yoga, about plant-based eating, and things like that. So check out my Instagram story for those. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys soon.
Gonna waste 1 minute of this life. I got a second chance.